Hey guys, it's Crystal. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be getting my Botox done, and the doctor is going to be answering some questions about Botox. So, trigger warning, if you do not like needles or a teensy bit of blood, then skip ahead to this point in the video and just listen to the questions being answered. Hey everyone, so I'm here with Dr. Motykie. He is the best, obviously, that's why I go to him. We've known each other for like 14, 15 years. He's the only one that has touched me. He's the only one that has worked on me. So I'm here today and he's going to do my Botox because, as you know, it's wearing off and my face is moving and I don't like that. So now he's going to fix that problem of mine, and I will show you throughout the weeks of how it progresses and how it slowly stops moving, or I don't want it to move. So I'm taking off with my magic eraser for my face some of the makeup so I don't get makeup with the needle in my skin, whatever that.
So you have a clean surface for him to work with.
Yes. Yeah. And this does not hurt. The scary part is looking at the needle.
So give me a grumpy. That's a raise. Yeah. Okay. Now raise out. Okay. So when you're doing this, I have you do that to balance you, because these muscles pull you down and these muscles pull you up. So if you don't want to look weird or have this strange stuff, we have to balance your muscles. So I'm going to start with a little into the grumpy muscle here. When was the last time you had Botox?
I think January maybe. It's been a while, yeah. And usually every other time I have to do this part. Mostly this, and then every other time I do the grumpy, because that wears off the slowest. For me.
Maybe you're less grumpy. Because it wears off a little faster the more you use the muscle, right? So it should last you 6 to 9 months.
When properly injected.
True.
And the other thing to consider is maybe the accreditation of the med spa or the doctor who's injecting you, right?
Yeah, I mean, again, there's a certain art to this and a little bit of science combined. So the art of it is to know where the muscles are and what you're injecting and how deep you're injecting, and all that matters as far as how long it will take.
And this does not hurt. You feel like a little prick, but it's really not bad at all.
Raise up for me.
See how much my forehead's moving?
It's not too crunchy.
Yeah, you can like feel it, if that makes sense. Like, you can hear it. I don't know. That's what I call it, feeling it.
As you go through the muscle, there's a covering, and that crunchiness is
I wonder if you can hear that on camera. He goes,
you can't hear it. But if you don't, that has to do with the depth. So if you don't hear that crunching, that means they're not going deep enough. And then
so you want to hear the crunch.
Yeah, because what it means is they're just putting it in your skin and they didn't get into the muscle. So they're crunchy.
Mm-hmm.
So then it won't work at all, or it won't last very long. Is that one more time? Just kind of balance out.
Why am I so happy to get shot up for now?
It's relaxing.
I'm about to be 38. I know.
Well, now we can keep everybody looking young.
Right? Yeah, everyone's like, or well, I had a couple people like, oh, you don't need to do Botox. I'm like, I already have it. You've never seen my face without it. So it's like a good job, you can't tell. You only see the bad botched jobs. It's like when you're like, that person's had a lot of surgery. Oh, can you also confirm he's the only one who had touched my face and my body with surgery? Can you confirm my cheekbones are real? Because everyone's like, your cheekbones are fake.
Her cheekbones are totally fake. That's kidding.
He has never touched my cheekbones. I don't have any filler in my cheekbones. He's only done my lips. Am I?
Just the one spot. I just don't want you to have a bruise.
I don't care. Makeup.
I had a glass of wine last night.
Duh. Sucky.
That'll do it.
I don't care if it's bruise.
Raise up. We're done. Just stop that bleeding. You can do whatever you want tonight. Those are all old wives' tales about no working out, no hanging your face, all that's
Really?
baloney.
Okay.
You can do whatever you want. Once it's injected, it goes right into the muscle.
What about?
Oh, now she wants more. I have a little.
I've had those forehead wrinkles since like I was 18. Let me just show you a close-up because I forgot to show you how much wrinkles I have before I got the Botox. So this is just later that night, but let's see. And then I didn't realize how bad my smile lines were until I saw the footage back. Oh gosh, this is gonna be a good before and after. So let's see. I can't really do, I mean, you can see when I do it. It wrinkles up. This one stayed pretty good. I haven't had Botox in like, I would say since like January, so it's definitely wore off. And then obviously you can see it's worn off right here, and it literally stays. Like there's nothing I can do. Makeup just still crinkles in there, so I definitely had to get it done because I cannot stand the grandpa forehead. Okay, so checking in 2 days later, I woke up and it is starting to not move anymore, which is really exciting. So this one is moving a lot less than this one. Has a little bit of a bruise, but makeup kind of covered it up. But I only have like a little bit of a line left right here and right here. Like 2 hours ago, this was actually moving way more, so this is already smoothing down and my wrinkles are going away. Oh, and with the Botox, it actually clears my acne up, so my forehead is looking really good right now, so I'm really excited about it. So let's do a little checkup. It's a couple days later, and I went through the phase so far that it is frozen. And then I'm going through the phase of like certain parts are sinking in faster than others, so I'm at the point of like, oh my gosh, what is happening, and then like freaking out, but then I know better to not freak out because I haven't had it in a while, so it is reacting super strong. It'll relax a little bit and then my muscles will work themselves out. So let's see, this side, my wrinkles are definitely stopping. So when I smile, I don't have the grandpa face and literally anger face. That's all she's moving. This one moves a little more than no. I'm literally trying to move. Like, I joke around to say I want my face frozen, and that's what I'm getting. No, he said it would chill out after a little bit, but I mean, I can still have expression, but I mean, like all the acne on my forehead and then most of the acne on my rest of my face has completely gone away in the past 3 days. So I am so excited. Like maybe that was the problem, that I've had really bad skin is because I didn't have Botox. I don't know. And you know it like blocks the sweat in like your forehead and stuff, so that must have also effects on the rest of your face, but I'm loving it. Oh, and then right here, I don't look as angry as I usually do. Like Cruella de Vil. Well, I kind of always look like Cruella de Vil. I definitely have less of a fold on my eyelids now. So it's definitely lifted my eyebrows where these start higher than normal. So I am back exactly 2 weeks after he did my Botox, and as you can see, no more wrinkles on my forehead and no more smile wrinkles either. I'm so excited. It's all working out. It's still settling in. As I did a checkup or like a check-in, and I was telling them that there's days where I'm like, no, it's lower, it's higher, and then like.
Well, Botox is a little bit of a process. So, you know, if it's been a while since you got injected, or your first time getting injected, you're going to have a little bit of an initial kind of punch, and it's going to take a really strong effect. And a lot of people in that, when it happens in that first week, freak out a little bit because like, oh my god, I'm frozen or it's too much. But then that initial effect wears off a little bit, and you get a little bit of movement back, and then a little more natural look. And so that's something that people have to be aware of, so they don't, when you first get the injection, that you don't freak out that it's overdone. And the things you want to see is that there's some of the movements coming back a little bit, but again, you don't want too much because then so, but you don't also want to be totally frozen.
Yeah. So I haven't had this done since I believe January. So many months. So it wore off completely. So that's why I feel like it was like hi.
So, but it's one, and then also I think. Sometimes, depending on if you like your injector, I do recommend going back to your injectors because everybody's muscle anatomy, everybody's response is a little bit different. So you adjust it as you go along. So if sometimes it's been a while and you do a little stronger dose, next time like you do a little weaker dose, you got to play with that a little bit. Not everybody's going to respond exactly the same. So that's another thing you want to be aware of. But you also don't want to go somewhere if they're always freezing you because they're not going to do it again, or tell them it was a little too strong, back off a little.
Yeah, so.
But the good news is it's none of it's permanent. The good and the bad news about Botox is it's not permanent. So if it's too strong, you let it wear off. If you like it, you do more. If you don't like it, you don't do any more. That's one of the nice things about injectables and Botox. Yeah,
this is the first time I've had a break in between in probably about 5 years, I believe. So usually it takes about 7 days. No, I know better to freak out because you always tell me, don't freak out.
That she had a gap of no Botox.
Oh yeah, no, I was freaking out about that, obviously. I was like, my face is moving, fix it. No, it's not, so I'm happy. But it was shocking that it took that quick. Like usually to see no lines in my forehead, usually it takes about 7 days, and this time it was I feel like the check-in, I think 3 days, so I was like, whoa.
I think I did it last time.
And you don't water yours down, you have the good stuff.
Well, that's a good point, and I mean, it is a point. Some of the things you want to check and ask are, how do they dilute the Botox? How are they going to inject it? How many units are you getting? And then I think there is, beyond that, I think there is some art to how you're going to place it and what dose you're putting where. You don't have to worry about that as much as the results, but you do want to ask those questions. How much are you diluting it? How many units are you giving me? Where are you putting it? And then secondly, there's also a certain amount of 3D anatomy to your face. The muscles are at different layers in the face. Some of the muscles are a little bit closer to the skin, some are a little bit deeper. And some injectors don't know the anatomy as much because they're not surgeons. They don't, they know they're there, but they don't know the depths. And so when you hear things like the crunching or different things, you know that you're getting actually into that muscle. And I think those are some things that also will lead to longer lasting results, better results, making sure you're targeting the exact muscles you want.
So this one will probably last about how long, do you think, until I would see the lines and need to do it again?
I'm guessing about 6 to 9 months. Yeah.
So just like everyone's like, I want 500 cc boobs, but 500 is not going to look the same on everyone and whatever. So someone's like, is 15 units going to be enough?
Well, like I said previously, when you're coming to dosing, everybody's response is going to be different, and everybody's required dose is going to be a little different. So also age, a lot of different things. So I always tell people start out with less. Start out with a smaller dose, play with it, see if you like it, because you can always add more rather than overdoing it and freezing somebody or dropping the brow or doing something that's going to take a while to come back. You're better off starting with a smaller dose and then upping that dose next time.
Yeah, so when dropping the brows, if they put it only a couple, a little bit, and then it drops, and then they have the angry.
The two dropping the brow can be several different things. One of the worst things is if they go too low under here and they actually hit this muscle, that'll give a droopy eye. That's not great. The other thing is balancing these muscles. Like I said, these muscles actually are what pull your brow down, right? The grumpy muscles here, and then these muscles raise your brow. So if they overdo this and not enough here, again, it will drop your brow. Or they can also give you that Spock look if they don't, blend it really well here. So the idea is to balance these two things. You don't want to just go and hit this because then it'll make your brow heavy.
Do you need to get done more than once? So you answer that, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, Botox,
I
think
wrinkle free.
Well, no, I think this is a good question. I think Botox is something you repeat maybe every 6 to 9 months. I think I like people to let it wear off a little bit and take a break from it because you want those muscles to not atrophy. So I like them to take a little break, let the muscle rebound a little bit, and then do it again. Okay. You can continue to do it back to back to back, but I think it's always good to give the body a little break or a little rest from the Botox.
So if you do it back to back to back, that kind of was another question here. was if you keep doing it, does it take like less effect? Is it like as effective, and does it wear off faster if you keep doing it without taking a break?
Does it wear off faster? No, I think it wears off slower if you do back to back to back. But you're also wasting it if you go back too early and it hasn't come back yet. There's no reason to do it. Those muscles are already paralyzed. It's not going to do anything. But when you go back to back to back, it does tend to last sometimes a little bit longer because the other effect hasn't worn off yet. But I do think something to think about in your mind is that you don't want to shrink the muscles too much. It's used for other things such as shrinking masseters, things like that. And what it does is atrophy those masseters. So at a certain point, you don't want to do too much that you are thinning your face, right? Now the muscles are paper thin, but I think over time you want to have a little rebound just so those muscles have a chance to rebound a little.
So talking about the TMJ it could be TMJ. They can use it in their armpits for sweat.
Botox. I mean, there's many different uses for Botox medically that you can use it for that people aren't aware of, inside the bladder, inside the body, different things, vocal cords. There's many different things you can use them for, but most people are aware of the cosmetic uses. Now you can do it, like I said, for fine lines and wrinkles in the face as well as TMJ, and that's again dealing with the masseter, the muscle here to decrease the pull on the joint. You can also do it to reshape the face, like I said, bringing in the jawline and shrinking. If people have a wide face, they can use it to shrink the masseters. Particularly in people that grind their teeth, and get these big masseters. Yeah, it helps a lot with that.
My next appointment.
Yeah.
If my book isn't that thick already. What else?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, also sweating is great for. So hands, armpits, people that have problems with sweating. The reason is, again, the glands are made of smooth muscles, and the Botox paralyzes those muscles, so then they can't sweat. Basically stops perspiration.
What is crazy, I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but when I get my Botox, all my pimples go away on my forehead. And
They can.
But it has almost cleared out the rest of my face. 2 weeks ago, it was like I didn't even look at myself in the mirror, and then
stress,
way less.
Less wrinkles. No, I'm kidding. Just kidding. But yeah, shrinking pore size, sweating, those things. Yeah, there are some benefits to your skin and the texture of the skin and face. Now, it won't necessarily affect the other areas, but the local area.
My face has cleared up since then. I was like, maybe that's why I had acne on the time I took off during this whole quarantine.
Or stress. Yeah, but it will. I do notice some people have an improvement in skin tone. I think it has to do with that. It may have to do with decreased sweating, but less oil, all those sort of things that are on your face because there's less of a secretion of all the glands that are involved with smooth muscles. One other thing you should mention is the lip flip. I think.
The upper lip flip.
I mean, those are some of the things you can do with with a little bit of facial reshaping as well. So if you are having a little bit of a frowny lip and you want to flip it, you can weaken the muscle that's pulling down. You can also do fine lines in the lips if people are getting those lines, and it's from the lip pursing. They call them the straw lines. So you can use a small amount for that. So there's a lot of other things you can do it here to open up the eyes and get rid of the crow's feet. So there's a lot of little tricks you can do if your injector knows how to do it that can really reshape as well as make you look more rested, youthful. That's the idea, not frozen and not moving, but awake, rested, less wrinkles, looking, just younger, but also more attractive, and expression a little bit more of a pleasant, welcoming expression.
So I did the upper lip flip, and it actually helped. So when I smile, it doesn't curl under. Mm-hmm. It also made my lips look bigger without having to get them done again.
And those things are additive. You can play with them together as long as people know what they're doing. You can play with little filler, little Botox, and play with them and get the look you want versus trying to just plump things up too much or freeze things too much. You blend it, and that works very well.
Because I see people on Instagram always she got a facelift, specifically Bella Hadid, the Hadid sisters or whatever. Is it Bella? Whatever.
Yeah, Bella.
Bella. They're oh, she got a facelift. I'm I don't know anyone who would do a facelift on someone that young. That's
Yeah, well, not anybody reputable, but there are things like I just said, so you can do additive things that can add up to a look like that without surgery, and that, like you said, could be a combination of doing fillers in the cheeks as well as doing a thread to pull it up, as well as doing a little Botox to open it up, and as you add all those things up, you get that look without having to go to the knife.
Yeah, so technically she didn't get surgery, she just got threads, fillers, and
most likely.
Botox. So that uplifting can happen with Botox, I feel already.
I mean, it depends how extreme you're going to be. If really extreme results, sometimes you're not going to get, but also there's extremes with everything, and you want to be careful. If you go too extreme, some things can't be undone, and you don't want to end up looking strange. But there are definitely a lot of things we can now do non-surgically that you don't have to have a big recovery and go to the night for. So I think those are things people should be aware of, and I always tell my patients, hey, these are the other options. You don't have to do a brow lift. You don't have to do these things. Try to do the things first. Yeah, and that's a good point. They're also reversible. The old threads used to be permanent. So either A, if you didn't like them, they were stuck, or B, they would slowly break and then one side could change, right? But the dissolvable, everybody's like, oh, they dissolve. But that's good because your face is going to change. You're going to continue to age. You may lose weight. Things are going to change. So you don't want things that are permanent in your face. You want your face to age gracefully with you and change with you, and you kind of adapt and adjust it as you go along.
The comments on Instagram is just like they really don't know the difference between Botox and filler.
Well, crazy. It's funny because the names are almost self-explanatory, but Botox is a botulinum toxin that paralyzes muscles. It has nothing to do with adding volume to your face, nothing to do with shaping of your face, other than shrinking muscles, nothing to add volume. So when you're talking about fillers, just like the name is, it fills things. So filler is something that's going to add volume to the face, but it's going to have nothing to do with paralyzing muscles. Now, the confusing part can come along with wrinkles or filling in, lines, because the Botox will attack fine lines and wrinkles, and because by relaxing that muscle, you won't get as many fine lines. But any deep lines that are really deep, or nasolabial folds or creases under the eyes, that's filler. So it's because you need that to add that volume to fill it out.
I've gotten filler under my eyes. That was like life-changing. Everyone's like, you look so tired. I'm not tired. I just have dark circles.
Yeah. And like I said before, though, the last thing I'll say about that is that sometimes I think a combination of the two is the best. And I think that's true with a lot of plastic surgery. You don't want to overpull, overfill, over-relax. You kind of want to blend a nice, balanced, moderate amount of everything so that the result ends up looking natural and not overdone. Yeah, neck bands are another thing.
I'm just fat!
No, these bands, the women that get...
Okay. No, the other day I was texting or doing something, and I look up, and my makeup, I had a fat line because I've gained 20 pounds since COVID. So I had this line that was stuck there. I looked in the mirror, I was like,
you must have found the 20 I lost.
I know. You must. Mini. No, I definitely gained.
No, there is one last thing that people, I think, underestimate, and I have a lot of fun with it now because people get that banding and their necks getting pulled down, and when you release those, or when you relax those muscles with the Botox, a lot of those bands go away and they don't need big surgeries and things. So it's just
so the older ladies with the thin skin. Okay.
Yeah, sometimes, not all the time, but if it's a muscle band, you can relax it and it'll snap up. So, yeah, it works well for that stuff.
I will never sag. Knowing you, I will never sag, and I will never have wrinkles ever. You just walk
except
off.
for when you're between Botox and
Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good ending to your video. He just gets up and walks out.
We can end on that because I think that's an interesting point. Because one question I get a lot of is, who's the best to inject my face? Is it a surgeon? Is it a dermatologist? Is it a nurse? Is it who's better than who? And the answer really isn't, with no ego involved, and nobody's necessarily better than anybody else. It depends on the experience level. It depends on how much they do the procedure, and then I think there's a little bit of artistry, like I said, a little bit of personal touch that you may like. Everybody's going to do it a little differently depending on their own eye. And then lastly, the only thing I will say is knowing the anatomy and where the muscles are sometimes may give you a little bit of an advantage of knowing where exactly how deep the muscles are and where they're at. So I think that does have some particular effect on that, maybe the long-term outcome and how it settles. I do notice that some patients say that my Botox lasts a little longer, it's a little better, or they what did you do differently than my last injector? And that may have something to do with it, but I just think in general, find somebody that's at least, trained how to do it and they're safe, and you ask those questions. How, come in educated. How do you dilute it? How do you inject it? Where are you injecting it? I don't want my brow to come down. I want my eyes to open up. Just make sure you explain all those things before you get injected.
Yeah, so don't go to Groupon and get a Groupon hookup. Get a homie hookup, not a cheap Groupon hookup.
Don't do it. You only get one face.
Yeah. So, you're
bye.
gonna say bye. He keeps trying to leave me. So, I'd like to thank you for making my face nice and wrinkle-free. So, hope you guys have learned a lot from him. He gave us a lot of good information, and if you have any more questions or comments, I can ask him, and then get the answer and put it in the comments below. So we'd love to hear your comments and questions. Love you guys. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.
15 years of him leaving me. Okay.
I don't know when I'm supposed to leave. Wait, am I supposed to do something for it?
No, I was just saying bye.
Oh.
Like we're ending. If you never watched a YouTube video, well, I know you don't watch YouTube, but my YouTube videos.
Not this kind of YouTube video, I don't think.